Hello out there. Heavy Monte here. Welcome to my podcast and my comedy show. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that Donald Trump is in Alaska today. Everybody knows that Heavy Monte lived in Alaska for 25 years. And I can tell you something, America. Alaskans do not like racists, and Alaskans do not like misogynists. They are very patriotic people, very patriotic people. And also, you know, the Republicans, policies for Alaskans is great to them. They got Anwar, that's the oil reserve up there, and they get a dividend up there to live there. Thousands of dollars for each child. For each person. So the Republicans were doing them, justice. Big oil. You see what I'm saying? But big oil was popular. But Anchorage, I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of liberals live in Anchorage. I'm one of them. I'm one of them right now. And they're very close to the birds that taking it over, like Mark Baggage, the senator. I knew him personally. And, me and him were at an event of Russians that had left and escaped, from Russia. They broke up. I can't remember what country they were from, but they had a dinner there. Excuse me. I was a DJ, and I played at their parties, so they invited me to all the events, you know. So you have a lot of Russians that, citizens that left Russia and moved to Alaska. They can tell you some horror stories. You see what I'm saying? So, the Alaskans are not going to be happy with that with Putin or Russia. That's not going to happen. So I want to say that Donald Trump, rolled off the red carpet for a mass murderer. Some say that Donald Trump's a mass murderer since he passed that big poison bill, and stopped sending food aid. Also, people are dying in Gaza like crazy, with American weapons. Huh? You see what I'm saying? Starving to death in Gaza right now. Huh? And so, Donald Trump thinks people at home, he thinks he's a dictator. The Republican Party told him he was a dictator because they do everything that he tells them to do. Not in America. Excuse me, it's a bad allergy. I had to cut grass today, but I'll be okay. But America, I want to say to you that the Republican Party, is just not worth anything for the American people. Now, they already took our money and gave it to the billionaires, and they refuse to let us know if Donald Trump's a pedophile. But I'll say one thing to you. A pedophile is real bad. It's a bad thing to be, But a pervert also is a bad thing to be. And we know that Donald Trump's a pervert. He said he was a pervert. He grabbed people by their private parts. And they said his past life is out there, His past life was out there, and Donald Trump and the maggot influencers were rolling the dice when they started lying on the Democratic Party. See, there is no lie too big for a maggot. Huh? He will tell his voters anything, to get them to hate their country and hate America. You see what I'm saying? So they had to make up a government because no rational, smart mind person would believe that the federal government that you barely see, only you see him at tax time, is a boogeyman out to get you. That's the first question I would have asked myself as a maggot voter. Where is this federal government? Show them to me and tell me what they're doing to me. Excuse me. Tell them what they're doing to me. Well, really, tell them. Tell me what the U.S. federal government is doing to you that is so bad, that you got to take it, tear up the Capitol and shit on the floor. No, tell me. You can't tell me, because everything you say is a lie. But what happens to these voters? They have these influencers and these podcasters and Fox News making all this money, and the billionaires spreading lies and brainwashing them that the United States government, is out to get them. Now, I'll tell you one goddamn thing, This government you have right now is out to get you. Don't give a damn budget. You know what I'm saying? What type of government takes away your health care from millions of Americans? What type of government let women bleed to death and you won't give them health care? What type of government allows a filthy maggot religion, to control their courts? Huh? Now we got a Supreme Court, you know. We don't have no Supreme Court. The Republicans got a Supreme Court, and they're corrupt. You see what I'm saying? That's why we got to go Democrat. We got to go Democrat, and we need to do something. The problem, what they're saying about my party, and we're going to prove them wrong. We're going to prove you wrong, America. Give us the 60 senators. Give us the House. And we'll fix that Supreme Court. You see what I'm saying? Because we gave them a chance to be honorable. Biden didn't go after them. Biden said, be honorable. But they weren't. Biden said, to, all the Republicans out there that I'm not going to interfere with the Department of Justice to put that big fat state golden pig in jail. I'm going to let the Department of Justice do their thing. And at the same time, the Republican Party told the American people that the U.S. government is doing all this stuff, and they're doing it to us. That's why we got to vote them out. We got to vote them out. And the Republican Party should not ever control. They got to go. They're Nazis. You see? They got to go. They should not exist as a political party in America. Fox News should not exist as a news station in America. Right-wing media needs to be destroyed because it brought the nation to its knees, packed based on lies. We should not allow propaganda to be masquerading as freedom of speech. We got a lot of poor people out there suffering in America. And they can easily be persuaded to hate their country and to hate one another. And that's what the Republican Party do. They do it in the churches in America. They tell these people that black people, 10% of the country ain't no good, trying to take something away from them. Tell them that dark people trying to take their space when everybody just trying to make it and trying to live in America. Trying to make it, from paycheck to paycheck. And they will not allow the government to help the American people, but they're going to give all this money to the billionaires and give us a pervert and a pedophile president. Somebody say a hooker and a president in the White House. I don't know how true it is. That's what they say. How can a country survive with a leader that nobody respects? A political party that nobody respects. A political party that controls the vast wealth of the nation. All these red states, all these small districts, telling the American people to hate their government. Telling the American people that there's no hope. And telling the American people that they need to destroy the government, but won't even tell the American people what they're going to replace it with. But we know if they replace it with Donald Trump and the Republican Party, we're all doomed, America. This is Heavy Monte for the Heavy Monte podcast and the Heavy Monte Comedy Show. Never, ever vote for Republicans because their leader is a convict, backed up by a criminal Republican Party, backed up by a voter suppressionist Supreme Court, backed up by a nasty, filthy, maggot church in America. And we will not stand for it, and we will vote them out in the midterms. And please subscribe to the Heavy Monte YouTube channel.